Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to the Accelerator with Michael Conniff. That's me. I'm your host. We're a podcast for startups, accelerators, entrepreneurs, founders, and also for VCs, angels, family offices, and investment firms. It's great to be here, and I want to invite you to subscribe, if you can, to the podcast on any of the major platforms, including Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Audible, and about 6 others. Plus, we're on YouTube, so you can subscribe over there. Make sure to rate us, rank us, give us a good ranking if you think we deserve it, and subscribe. That's really super important. So today I am ecstatic to be welcoming to the show Marina Sol of Diagnio. Welcome, Marina.
Hi, Michael. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, great to have you live from Armenia. You might say. And Marina has some, I feel like this is what we call breaking news. Marina has some breaking news about her brand new startup. So why don't you tell us how excited you are? What happened today?
Yeah, I'm really excited this day because just half an hour ago, as a founder of early stage startup, that's so important. And I received a message that I have been accepted to the Alchemist Accelerator, and that's one of the top accelerators in the world. So obviously, I'm super happy and thrilled and excited of the journey ahead.
And what will that mean to your company? In other words, I'm assuming it's going to be largely virtual, but where is the Alchemist based?
Yeah, it will be virtual for sure. The Alchemist, I mean, I would say it's spread, but it's mainly based in the US, of course. And that's important for me because US is one of the key markets where I would like to target my product to. And yeah, I mean, despite being virtual, it's just, it's a sign of the fact that what I'm trying to do is actually important to people out there. And there is something in the product that I'm trying to make. So I'm super happy that that was heard. And I'm sure that there are many changes and developments ahead, but this is a good, very tiny first step.
This is a good day. So what do you expect? You'll get some mentorship, you'll get some expertise. I assume you'll get some invitations to investors, but what else are you hoping to come out of this?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's going to be a great networking for sure, which is very helpful for early stage companies, for mentors, for possible angel investors, and for advisors, which are very much needed in the companies. And also, there can be some, advices on like technological points and scientific points, which are important for me as for a person who's starting a healthcare company. So that's also very valuable.
Yes, and without further ado, we have to talk about your company. So Diagnio, you have now, I'm going to put it in my words, and you can put it in your words, okay? You have developed an app that includes I would call it an add-on device to an iPhone that the MVP, the minimum viable product, allows women to check their ovulation cycles. The full-blown product will allow women also to check the levels of 5 different hormones. So that's how I would describe it. How would you describe it?
Very nicely put, Michael. Yeah, I couldn't do that better. But yeah, generally, the idea that we put behind is will help women to take control of their reproductive health by developing, as you said, at-home testing solution and the mobile application to track fertility and hormonal balance in a fast and cost-effective way. So yeah, the MVP is just one hormone and just ovulation, but the full product is going to presume 5 hormones at multiplexing test and instant results for for continuous monitoring.
And 5. So let's talk about the what people in the startup business like to call the pain point. So right now. And you're going to have to help me. I obviously know nothing about this. How would a woman now know when she's ovulating?
Well, there are different ways of knowing that. I would say, of course, there are like very simple paper-based strips that she can buy off the shelf based on urine, and they can predict or show ovulation. That's one point. Another point, she can do the test at the laboratory to see if her level of hormones, of certain hormones, is elevated, and that's another case. And I mean, generally, if you're just living your life, that may be not that important subject to measure. But if you're trying to get pregnant, that may become critical. Or if you're undergoing the fertility treatment or preparing for IVF, that could be critical as well. And so, that is important in many days of the cycle, not just one point. So different hormones are there in question.
You know what mansplaining is, right? You know that phrase? That's when men...
No, tell me.
You don't want to know. But mansplaining is when men get into trouble, kind of basically talking over women or trying to like take the dialogue away from... Somebody could explain this a lot better than me, but I don't want to mansplain this. But if there's a certain point in a woman's monthly cycle where she's ovulating, and therefore, let's not lose the point here, is fertile, right? And is most likely to get pregnant, right? I didn't screw that up, I hope. Now, why would a woman want to know about hormone levels? And tell us, what are the 5 hormone levels that you'll be producing? But why are they important?
Yeah, it's a very good question, because there's been a general understanding that only the luteinizing hormone is important. So like if you're ovulating or not, because it's what it shows. But in fact, in order to get pregnant, a woman may have problem with the later in a stage. So maybe her progesterone is low, and so, I mean, the point does not develop further, or she has very high cortisol due to the stress at work and, some other stressing points in her life. And that would also prevent her from being pregnant, even if she's ovulating. So that is why not one hormone, but several are important to be tracked. And actually, if there is a way to do it in a non-invasive manner and easy manner, so like at home, that helps, because she doesn't need to, spend days waiting in lines for the laboratories or for next doctor appointments, and do it when she can and when she basically wanted it to be in control.
Now, what is the competition in this area right now?
I'd say it's a very, it's nice to be in a very booming area generally. Women health is kind of a trendy topic, and I see many companies innovating in this space. So first of all, that's good. And in terms of the competition, I would say right now there are some services that offer home collections or home collection of the tests, and they would be the main ones to compete, together with the traditional labs, of course. And also there are some very new startups who are either launching or going to be launching that provide their view in this area. But we're not hoping to be the first, but definitely you want to be the best.
And what makes you confident, or what makes you think you could be the best in this application?
Well, it's I've been working on medical devices for quite some time already. So first, it's the experience that I had with my partners, with whom we have been able to launch several products. Second is the personal passion to it that I have. I mean, that may sound obvious, kind of, but for me, it is indeed a very personal subject, because I come from a gynecologist family, and my mother used to help giving birth for like thousands of kids. Well, she couldn't help herself. And actually, thanks to assisted reproductive technologies, I was born many years ago when it was still a novelty. But so to say, for me, it is a, kind of a payback journey that I'm doing. And I really want to make this happen and solve that problem.
It wasn't that many years ago, Marina. You're not that old.
Yeah, I'm young.
You're young. So your mother was a gynecologist in Russia. She and you were conceived by artificial insemination because your mother, though she was an expert and a gynecologist, was having difficulty conceiving. And
That's
so you
true.
have a direct, you have what we would call skin in the game. You wouldn't be here if it weren't for essentially the intervention of technology around childbirth, right? You wouldn't be here.
Yeah, that's why I'm in this world.
That's why you're in this
Thanks
world.
to that technology.
So in terms of your background, what kind of degree do you have, or where does your expertise come from?
I have my education in marketing and IT. I have two majors, and
Hmm.
I've been working for many years for and with healthcare companies, but always on the business side. I never wanted to be a doctor, but I wanted to just drive this business forward. And I mean, I've been doing the innovations mainly, like digital innovations for the healthcare, and have experience both in corporate and entrepreneurial world. And the latter I do love the most. So that's why I'm here.
Do you have a chief technical officer you're working with?
I have a chief medical officer, indeed,
Chief medical. Oh,
who
okay.
supports me, of course, on all the like methodology development and
Mhm,
like
mhm.
biochemistry, electrochemistry, and yeah, I do have a technical developer, a software developing guy, but I would say that's in our case that's less important than having a strong medical partner.
Sure, sure. Now, in your MVP, which you've gotten out into the market, what kind of traction have you gotten, and what kind of response from women have you gotten? People who have used the product.
Yeah, that was a great journey launching that MVP. We've launched it late 2021 in a local market, true, and we were able to sell about 400 units in 3 months. So that was quite an achievement. After that, well, unfortunately, we had to do a hard stop, and I needed to relocate my business to Armenia due to political reasons. And right now, of course, we're looking to like kickstart the relaunching of it, most likely in the Middle Eastern markets. So it's
Mhm.
like Dubai and generally United Arab Emirates. What I'm looking for as a relaunch. Um, while we're developing the full prototype. But yeah, that's been a great journey, and we had some very nice customer feedback on the usage. However, we also did have a feedback that ovulation is not enough, and that's why the whole development of the full product took place.
And do you happen to have the product close by, the MVP?
No, I don't have it with me right now.
Okay, because it's
I
basically
showed
it's a
it to you
phone.
last time, yeah, but
Yeah,
unfortunately, sorry, I'm not able to show.
it's an add-on. It adds on to the camera, and obviously you're going to develop the real product now. But what it would see? Do you have any sense of how many women worldwide have trouble conceiving?
Well, it's a very good question because actually that just shows that this problem has been quite so much overlooked. Because as the data shows, every 1 out of 2 women does have problems conceiving, even if she's trying like for 6 months. It may not be necessarily caused by any pathology, though some do have pathologies, but still, it's kind of a long journey. And if we can make it faster, that's already good. If we can make it cheaper with a non-invasive and cost-effective testing, that's so much better.
Yeah. And where are you in the in the fundraising process? Where are you in terms of seed round, pre-seed, etc.?
Yeah, we're in our pre-seed right now. I mean,
Hmm.
we do have this MVP, and we're looking forward to like using the funds to have the launch in UAE, as I was mentioning before. So that's kind of the first part of the funds that we wanna raise, and the second part would be for the developing of the full prototype. And yeah, we're raising up to 1 million US dollars right now. Have some interest already from the angel groups and so like accelerators. I'm now part of the another Southern California health dedicated accelerator ExpertDOJO. So happy to be there as well, and hopefully
Oh,
this
you're in
will also
you're at
help
Expert
us.
Dojo. You're at Expert
Yeah,
Dojo.
yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Starting this
Yeah.
week. That's another great news.
Oh, okay. So those were the two. So I actually just did a my workshop, startup storytelling for startups at Expert Dojo, less than a
All
month ago.
right.
Yeah, and I
Great.
did
So
it
hope to see you there as well.
yeah, with I did it with Brian McMahon, who, like me, uh, is I'm an Irish American. He's a real Irishman, but I'm 91% Irish underneath this American exterior, or this Irish exterior, actually. Um, and I have a lot of respect for him, actually, because he is growth, growth, growth. And
Absolutely.
if he hadn't, if you weren't already there, I would probably recommend you to him for that reason, because he's not interested in small wins. He wants really big, big wins, and also he has an enthusiasm that I think is pretty contagious, and a confidence and a word, and also I would even call it a swagger. Do you know what swagger is?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got swagger. So here's the thing I want to ask you, and these are kind of maybe a little more difficult questions. So you for business reasons, for political reasons, you had to leave your homeland of Russia. You're in Armenia. Do you think you're going to be able to go back at any point?
Um, that's a difficult question. I would say that I would want to be back at some point of time. Maybe not for living, but for definitely for just being able to, visit, come back, and traveling, and I mean, I do travel, yeah. So it's I
Yeah,
need to go back and forth because I have my parents and some errands there, but it's just the point that I also have the ambition of developing a global business. I mean, a global meaningful business, which would mean for me that eventually I would relocate out of Armenia as well, probably somewhere else where I, would belong in order to manage the business that I'm building.
sure.
So
So what is it like starting a business in Armenia? I've been told the food is really good. Other than that, I really know nothing about Armenia. So what is it? What part of Armenia are you in?
it's Yerevan, of course, and I would say you need to try also their cocktails. They're just perfect. I mean, honestly, I didn't realize they have such a good like bar culture. I mean, absolutely.
Oh, that's funny. And how big a city is that you're in? How big is that?
um, it, well, comparing to Moscow, it's not a big one. It's not more than 1 million, I believe. So it's
Okay.
I mean, like a normal city, not a
Yeah.
megapolis, but very friendly in terms of culture and in terms of network and like easiness to be there. So it's a good place. I like it.
Do you think that the reason I'm asking this is in part because I know a number of Russian entrepreneurs, and when I first got started in the startup space, it was before the war in Ukraine. And so, I was seeing lots of really interesting stuff from Russia, lots of really good entrepreneurs. There were at least two in particular I thought were really promising. They were getting traction. They were winning. One of them won a pitch contest. And then, it kind of ground to a halt. It kind of ground to a halt because I, I personally, not that my vote matters that much, but it just felt very awkward. Like I don't blame, and we should not blame the Russian people for what's happened, but nonetheless, it just created a layer of ambiguity that made it really hard to know what to do next,
Mhm.
in terms of working with Russian entrepreneurs. And in fact, I was on LinkedIn today, and I connect pretty aggressively, and I saw some Russian venture funds, and I did what I did for everybody else. I connected, with whoever I could connect with. Um, but I felt a little weird about it. I felt like, honestly, what I felt was like, I'm going to have to come back to this later. you know, I'm not going to do anything with these connections now. I'm going to have to come back. So, as you sit there with a lot of excitement in your voice because of Expert Dojo and the Alchemist accelerators, you're on the verge of something here. I'm pretty sure. Um, where do you go? Can you stay in Armenia kind of indefinitely, or where will you go to another country? And how do you make that decision? Because I think it's a decision that a lot of people in your shoes are facing as well.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, um, first of all, I'd say that I've been lucky enough because through my previous life and I mean life before, I have been able to live in different countries. I mean, I lived in France for like a year and a half. I lived in Poland for almost 2 years. I lived in the US for 1 year. So it's not
Pretty
like,
good.
yeah, it's not like an unknown, thing for me to be moving somewhere and living in a different culture. So, I mean, for me personally, it's not that difficult per se. But of course, the all current situation is, I mean, it's hard, and I mean, honestly, I feel very bad about talking about this, and just because it hurts so much. I mean, I'm half Ukrainian myself, so it does hurt, and I mean, I'm just grateful for the people with whom I'm in touch right now, that they understand the difference between like being an entrepreneur and just a person, and being a representative of a certain country. And I'm sure I mean, that's kind of the feeling that people had probably, like from some Middle Eastern countries or from Iran or from Germany after Second World War. So it's just a heritage that we have, and I mean, we have to face it.
And is Armenia a good place for startups?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite recently there's been quite many developments, and there is a vibrant culture of the startups right now because, first of all, there are also some new companies appeared in the recent months, and secondly, the country itself, it looks like they support pretty much. I mean, I know myself the like the head of the innovations for the whole country. It's like a minister of innovations, and they're very open. So I know
You
that
actually
they're.
know you actually know the Minister of Innovations?
I mean, it's like the head of innovations department at the ministry, something like that. Yeah,
Right.
because it's a very small world.
Yeah, it's a smaller country. So let me ask you this. This is a more fun question. So you could take this company anywhere. There's going to be some temptation, of course, to go to the United States, needless to say, right? Because there's always that temptation. But what is the criteria for you to make the decision about where you go next should you leave Armenia?
I'd say that would be a business decision, most likely. So, I mean, you can start off and launch the product these days from anywhere. So then we'll see. I do have the focus as far as the markets for the US and the UK, at least as the like first English speaking markets that I want to launch my product in. I mean, apart from the Emirates. And then once it works, and I'm sure it will work, so then I would take the decision to move. And I would be planning US probably because of the business reasons. So that's most likely the decision to be made. But then we'll see. I mean, these days you just don't plan for such kind of things much beforehand because you never know what COVID is going to bring, what's like other political things are going to bring. So.
Well, I don't think you have to worry about COVID in the United States because I just had my fifth shot. Five. I had five COVID shots. So if I get COVID, it'll be a
Wow,
complete
wow. I had
complete
three.
miracle. Yeah, I mean most people haven't had five. But and if you do have to move to another country, I would put it under the category of problems you would like to have because it'll be a sign that you're doing well and you're making progress.
Exactly. That's a nice problem to have.
Nice problem to have. I did want to ask about the UAE. I do hear about a lot of startups, a lot of founders saying, "Well, our next move is going to be the UAE." And I wonder why. What is it about obviously the UAE, from my perspective, has a better reputation than Saudi Arabia or some of the other Middle Eastern countries. But what is it about the UAE that makes it makes it part of your consideration?
Well, I'd say that first of all, it's the investing climate and kind of the
There's
business
money there.
network that they're building in there.
There's money there, of course, right?
There's money there, and also there is a market there that they're gradually building because they do want to attract to the country a lot of expats and a lot of like English speaking people from different countries, and that constitutes the good available market. Yeah, because these people are in the need of innovative products, obviously. So that's the second big point.
Yeah. Keep
Yeah,
going.
and then the third big point is that it's kind of a gateway to the rest of Middle Eastern countries and also Asian countries. So it's a good base, to expand further to the region. And then finally, a small but important point for me is for the medical startup. They do accept the regulations like FDA or CE marking. So that's important that you don't have to spend, extra for local regulatory services.
And that's a good question to ask before I let you go, which is, what kind of approvals do you need to bring this to market? Specifically in the U.S. is my interest, but will you need FDA approval?
Yeah, it's a perfect question for the for the healthcare startup. So the device, which is the MVP, it already has the FDA Class 1 clearance. So that's a kind of an easy road off the shelf. The target device would need to be cleared like a 510K regulation, and of course we have a plan to receiving that, and then after it's done, then we can enter the US market.
Then you're off to the races, as we say, right?
Right.
Well, Marina, you've been a good sport. Some of these questions are very difficult, and I appreciate your answering them with a smile on your face, which is appreciated. I'm really, really excited for you that you've been accepted into two great accelerators, the Alchemist and our friends at ExpertDOJO, and I probably will be seeing you there, if not sooner, as we think about storytelling and moving forward. But I want to wish you all the luck in the world, and thank you so much for being with us today on the Accelerator.
Thank you so much, Michael. It's been a pleasure, and I also hope to be able to have many more conversations with you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening to the Accelerator. Get us on all the major platforms, the Accelerator with Michael Conniff, also on YouTube. Rate us, subscribe to us, and most importantly, listen and come back and tell us what you think. So that's it for today. But as I like to say, we'll be back before you know it.